How do we get our teens on board with this?
You asked me this question last week, and I've just been buzzing with excitement to get into this. I'm so excited because I think progress is great when you can feel it and you feel like you're making a difference.
Progress
is beautiful.
I feel like we need to begin this episode, Mr. Crandall, with an intervention. With an accounting, with a calling of someone onto the carpet. And
yes, please. Call away.
We were discussing how difficult and maybe even unrealistic it is to do a cell phone fast.
Mm-hmm.
We were discussing your issue of waking up with your phone.
Yes. It's really difficult. That's what I've learned.
Coach Crandall, speak the truth. All progress starts with the truth. How did you do this past week?
My truth is I'm buns at this. As the kids say.
I don't want your truth. I want the truth.
No, that is the truth. I am buns at this. I grab my phone because it's my alarm. That's what the kids say nowadays. When something's it's cheeks or buns or it's their way of saying it's bottom. But a different word that starts with.
I see.
Hey, so anyway, yeah, I'm not good at this because what my system currently is my phone is my alarm clock. And so it goes off and I get up and like, I don't have a snooze issue. And my wife will tell you every once in a while I do, but it's not a big issue. So I get up, but now my phone's in my hand and then I go into the bathroom and then it's, I'm just getting ready for the day, but it's always tethered to my phone. Like I have a really, really hard time putting it down and staying off of, checking in on this, that, or the other, sending messages to people in the morning. Like I'm very systemically hooked to all that. That's what I've learned in the last week.
How can you unleash from your phone?
That's the $1 million question. But that's why I love this. And that's why I said this, it's all about progress. That's why it's realistic if you're not trying to, like you said last week, run the marathon hopping off the couch. And I know I'm running a marathon with this. I've got some changes that I have to make in my system, but I'm starting to identify some of those. And I love that.
And I think the question is, how do we get our teens on board with this? We're really talking about family connections here.
Yes.
Connection between parent and teen. And the better your connection is, the better your teen's performance is going to be, the better they're going to be in their sports, school, etc.
The more resilient they're going to be as they're going through the challenges that go along with those things.
Yeah. So Nate, speaking of connections, we would like to invite our listeners and viewers to hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
And we're growing our YouTube channel. So hit subscribe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I've got some nerdy stuff for you.
Oh, I love it when you get the nerdy. See, this is how I know you're one of us. You're one of the nerds because you research and you find these things.
Yeah, this is interesting. It comes from a group that works with the military in human performance, and their acronym is CHAMP, and they're citing some information from some various studies. They ask the question, are cell phones ruining family time?
Great question.
And they just discuss how it's so difficult for people to put their phone away when they're in conversations with others and they feel lack of control over it. You get the constant checkers. I see this a lot with teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm picking on the teens here, but you'll see it with adults too. But you'll see teens waiting in a line, standing in a small group with other teens, and somebody will literally pull their phone out of their pocket every 15 to 30 seconds and just check it.
Yep.
We definitely feel FOMO. We feel like if we aren't checking our phones, if we aren't on our phone, we're going to miss out on something. And so this carries over even into family time, dinner time, conversations, and it just adds adds strain. I'm going to read this one word for word because I think it's so funny. I have never heard this term before. Have you heard of phubbing? Phubbing. Check this out. Snubbing your partner while on the phone, or phubbing, is linked to lower relationship satisfaction among couples.
So it's phone snubbing. So
It's
I
phone snubbing.
use my phone to snub my date, my wife.
Yeah. I mean, you taught me
Nice.
buns today. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to use buns. I kind of like biscuits better. My grandson he's a Bluey fan, and biscuits is a kind of an exclamation when
Biscuits.
biscuits,
Okay,
and you're
I can
saying,
use that.
that's yeah. Anyway,
That's
back to
cheeks.
phubbing.
Okay.
They're talking about romantic partners, spouses, but to me,
It's true
this
across human relations.
It is. It's the same with parent and teen. So when parents are on their phones, they're going to talk less to their kids. They are definitely going to respond slowly. And then I've never done this. And then you overreact when you feel like you're being interrupted. It's like, hey, I'm on my phone here. And so when the parent's distracted by their phone, they're probably in a position to, and I would imagine this is maybe more true with younger children.
Mm-hmm.
For example, they talked about how on the playground, 60 to 80% of the parents are on their phones while their kids are playing.
Wow.
And that over 50% of them are not responding to their child's call for attention.
Wow.
On the playground. And compared to a lower number of about 11% who don't respond that aren't on their phone. And so this is, the message that you're sending is, this is more important than you.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're advocating, or we're advocating, that you just always are on call every single second. But
aren't we as parents, like, we talk about that on this show a lot? Parenting's the hardest job, and there's not a close second, and it's because you are on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, isn't that part of the job description? And
Sure.
You don't have to like rescue them. That's not like encouraging the helicopter thing, but and I think that's something that's really interesting about this. There was another study that was done specifically on younger kids, like infant type kids, and how the cell phone was actually impacting parents' responsiveness to their kids' needs. And they noticed that when these infants needed something, their parents were slower to respond to some of those needs because they weren't in tune with their kids and their needs, because they were so tuned into what they were doing or seeing or communicating on their phones. So, I mean, it's eating away at the core of human relations, which is that responsiveness that we have.
Eating away at the core of human relations.
Sounds the most important relationship is the parent-child one. And if there's something that eats away at that, that's the core of human relations.
Sounds pretty serious. So let's get serious about how we get our teens on board with this. I'm really, really interested in what you have to say, because I think we tend to want a quick fix. We're so used to, we say this with our clients all the time. You can just Google a list of personal development things. You can add another book to your bookshelf. And by the way, we're in support of both of these things. Yeah, go ahead and Google, get ideas, buy another book, and this time read it. And
read the whole thing.
Read the whole thing, and this time actually implement the concepts that you're learning. But if we have some really good coaching on how to get our teens on board with some type of phone fast, some type of adjustment that's going to help you to create a better relationship with your team, to improve your conversations, then I'm all for it.
Yep. Let's do it. So we talk a lot about how setting the example's everything. So to me, the most important thing is if I'm the parent here, I'm going to sit down with myself, possibly with my spouse, but probably start with yourself even before that. How do I want my cell phone use to look? What do I want to do? Where's the appropriate places for me to use it? Where do I need to use it? Because it's, we use it in a lot of different ways. And then if I have a handle on those, now I can look and say, okay, now when are the right times for me to do this? So I'm creating my own personal plan. If my goal is to carve out some time where I am not on my phone with my kids, I'm going to now go to my kids and say, Billy, Jane, whatever, this is my goal. I want to stop letting this phone get in the way of us having better time together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to be off the phone when I'm talking to you. And I need you to help me with it. So I'm recruiting my kids.
Whoa. Time out.
Okay.
Well, you just described it. I was going to ask you that last question. Can you say that again?
Will you help me with this?
Oh, this is so much better than laying down some new decree, some new command that
yes,
we are going to do this.
Yes.
Even
I'm not
if it's
imposing
a good idea.
Another rule on them. I'm actually asking them to help me impose my rule on me. So like if I create a rule here, which I think is a great thing, we'll probably even go into this more in another episode, but I create a rule for myself. When I'm talking to my kids, I'm not on my phone. That's my rule personally.
This whole concept, I mean, not only is the rule good, but the system you're using here, the concept, the question, this is like an incredible guitar solo. Keep going.
Oh, thanks. I'm going to take that to my kids now, and I'm going to invite them. This is my rule for me, not my rule for you, and I need you to help me enforce it. So when I am talking to you, if I get on my phone, I need you to call me out on it.
Ooh, I like this.
And then I give them permission, and I can even tell them what I want that to look like, depending on the relationship I have. If it's, fun, sarcastic kind of relationship, and we've talked about that before, but maybe giving them permission to say, dude, I'm right here. I'm more important than your phone, something like that. But I empower them to call me out on it. And then when they call me out on it, I don't overreact. I'll be like, oh, thank you so much for reminding me. And I can put my phone away and I can re-engage with them. So I think that's the next step. And I think that's the best way for us as parents to involve them. They know that they want to get off their phone, but I can't make them do it. And the harder I try to make it, usually the worse that makes the relationship. But if I'm showing them, this is how you're important enough to me for me to make this rule for myself. And I want you to help me involve that rule. When I'm doing that, I am showing them how they can do it for themselves now. And where that goes with the conversations after that, that's totally up to you and how you choose to do it. But it should lead to a place where now they've seen you do it. They see you progress. They see you spend more time investing in them, and they will most likely reciprocate. And if they don't, I can't take that personally because it's not about me. It's about them seeing me go on that journey. And now they know how to do it.
This is a great idea because it involves an actual connection, actual conversation. There's some built-in accountability. Mm-hmm. You're empowering the teen to call you out in whatever manner you decide. This is a little different than you and your phone in the morning because you're going solo on that. You would need you perhaps need to ask your wife, can you help me with this?
No, because I get up stupid early and she doesn't want to get up early to babysit me on my phone.
Okay.
I got to be a big kid. This is why everybody needs a coach though. So I have somebody to check in with.
But back to your teen, this connection, you need to play the long game with this. If you are thinking that they're going to reciprocate within the first 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 hours, maybe even 2 months,
2 months.
maybe even takes a year for them to start seeing the benefits and the respect and the growth that's happening within the relationship. So you've got to be okay with saying it's possible that they just don't ever make this a two-way street, and be okay with that.
Because I'll get more out of the relationship, and I know they will too. I'm controlling what I can control as the parent. I can't make them do anything, but I'm showing them I'm doing my best to not be addicted to my device, to not let this device ruin our relationship.
This is so good. This is so much better than walking into the living area and saying, all right, kids, we are going on a weekend-long phone fast.
Yep.
That's just going to lead to some frustration, some arguments. But I love this baby step.
Yep. And it'll lead to some interesting conversations. It'll definitely, if you're not on your device, but now they are when you're having communication, then maybe you can say, hey, I know I'm trying really hard because I value our relationship. Do you mind putting your phone away because it makes it hard for me to not be on mine?
Go make it happen, parents.
On behalf of Steve Galley, I'm Nate Crandall, and we thank you, our loyal listeners, for tuning into this episode. If you love what you're learning from the Stop Parenting and Start Coaching podcast, we would appreciate it very much if you would leave us a 5-star review and some glowing comments. We also encourage you to share this episode with your friends and family who are parents of athletes and performers. And if you want to explore further and see what Steve and I are creating to help thousands of parents, athletes, and performers, please visit our company's website at createtransformbecome.com. That's createtransformbecome, all one word, .com. There you'll find a growing number of resources to help you elevate your performance. Thank you again for your support, and we encourage you to create a magical relationship with your athlete and performer.